Verse 81. Sri Vishnu Saahsranaama Stotra. तेजो वृषो द्युतिधरः सर्वशस्त्रभृताम्बरः प्रग्रहो निग्रहो व्यग्रः नैकशृङ्गो गदाग्रजः तेजो वृषः द्युतिधरः सर्वशस्त्रभृताम्बरः प्रग्रहः निग्रहः व्यग्रः नैकशृङ्गः गदाग्रजः तेजो वृषः showering radiance, Dutidharaha, bearer of effulgence, Sharva Shastra Bhutambaraha, he is the best among those who wield weapons, like Lord Rama, Pragraha, controlling the five senses, which are like wild horses, with his grace as the reins, Nigraha, controller, destroyer, Vyagraha, ever intent on fulfilling all the wishes of the devotees. Naika Shringaha, many horned. These horns denote various states of our existence Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupt, and Turiya. That is, wakefulness, dream, deep sleep, and the one transcending all these three stages. Gadagrajaha, Gada Agrajaha, elder brother of Gada. Gada also means mantra, a chant. Now let us see the names in greater detail. Tejo Vrushaha, one showering radiance. Now, radiance represents nectar, the life sustaining rain. For example, the Supreme, as the Sun God, gives us the life sustaining rain, which is like Amrit, which is like nectar for the human beings. Tejasam Ambasam Sarvada Aditya Rupena Varshana. In the form of the sun, one who showers nectar like rain. In the outer cosmos, the sun gives out heat and light, and because of this and a chain reaction, cultivation becomes possible. The cultivation need not necessarily be directly because of or attributable to the sun, but without the sun and the series of cause effect chain of actions, no agriculture is possible. The same way, the Narayana, the Mahavishnu, the Supreme Self, by his mere presence within us, illumines all our experiences with his divine light. It is called radiance. So we call him Tejo Vrushaha. And the Supreme, by very nature, is the bearer of this effulgence. Duty Dharaha. Duty indicates the glow of beauty and strength in the form, physical form. The duty also denotes one who bears an effulgent form. A person having an effulgent form is called Dutidharaha. Now here, duty, this name duty also indicates that the Supreme is a seat, is a abode of pure consciousness, which is the one enlivening factor for all the beings. It is in the light of the Atman that the creatures become aware of their perceptions, emotions, and thoughts. That is what we mean to say when the soul leaves the body, it becomes lifeless. It cannot have any perceptions, it cannot have emotions, it cannot have thoughts. The only difference between a living and a non living person is the duty, the pure consciousness. Dyuti means not only effulgence and a glow, but also Shakti, the Atma Shakti. Now, with this Atma Shakti as a weapon, the Supreme is able to put an end to all the evil games of the unrighteous persons known as Asuras. So he's called Sarva Shastra Bhutam Baraha. He is the best among those who wield weapons. Narayana, Mahavishnu, is quite often depicted with the discus Sudarshana. Sudarshana is the greatest of all weapons. Once Mahavishnu uses his Sudarshana, nobody can save him. There was a person who made annoyed his devotee, and the person devotee named Amrisha, and then the person on whom Mahavishnu used the Sudarshana ran to all the corners of the world, everywhere, including the other Trinity, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, everybody. Nobody could protect him from Sudarshana. Ultimately, he comes to Mahavishnu and seeks his pardon. Very interestingly, Mahavishnu also says, I cannot do anything. You go and seek the grace of the person whom you have hurt, Ambarisha. Now, Ambarisha very gracefully requests Mahavishnu, requests Sudarshana to spare this person, and so the person is saved. This shows the Sudarshana is nobody will be able to withstand the power of the Sudarshana Chakra. Now, Sudarshana also represents knowledge. It represents auspicious vision. So whenever Supreme, whenever uses this weapon, it is only for what is called constructive destruction. Unlike other evil persons, they use their weapons, it results in destructive destruction. We call it constructive destruction only because the evil tendency is destroyed. The person will have the opportunity of seeking liberation and moksha and grace from the same Mahavishnu who was wielding these weapons. When a person becomes fit for his own inner unfoldment, slowly but definitely all his connections with the outer world all diligently cut off. If this is what is meant by destruction, it is most welcome destruction. So that the person will be able to live and move higher and higher to the plane of the Mahavishnu, of Supreme Being. So Narayana always uses his weapons to destroy the devilish, the evil tendencies. But at the same time, he also gives them moksha and liberation. The best example is Lord Krishna giving moksha to Shishupala, who abused him continuously. Mahavishnu did, Krishna did cut off his head, but then the spirit of the soul of Shishupala comes and merges in Lord Krishna. It is his grace. Apart from holding weapons, the Supreme also holds five senses, controls the five senses like reins. He's called Pragrahaha. Pragrahaha, controlling the five senses, which are like wild horses, with his grace as the rein. He is the sole receiver of all worship of every devotee, irrespective of his creed or race or location in the world and at all times. The devotee, with his limited understanding, with his limited intellect, may invoke the spiritual presence in various institutions using different symbols, praying to what he thinks different gods and goddesses in different tirthas, because he believes in his own creed and his own scripture. But once he is able to transcend his limited perception, feelings, and thinking, he will experience the Supreme Self, that he will understand the Supreme Self is one and the same. the same all-pervading, changeless, supreme power. This transcendental, which is surpassing, which is something beyond what we see on this earth. The transcendental universal self is the only one, is the soul, is the final receiver of all the prayers that may arise from us consciously or unconsciously. It may be from a human being or maybe a plant or an animal. Now, pragraha refers to the reins with which the horses are controlled and their movements are regulated. Now, this is a spiritual, scriptural metaphor of the chariot, in which the mind is a rein by which the horses of the sense organs are like wild horses. These are controlled and regulated. Now, the Narayana himself is invoked as Pragraha because when the mind turns towards him in total devotion and total surrender at his lotus feet, the devotee need not any longer fear that the wild sense organs will carry him away in a wrong direction. That fear he need not have. This is the real symbolism of Krishna as Parthasarathi and Arjuna as Rathasarathi. Holding the five senses in his hand like the reins, he kills or controls the ego in beings. Is called Nigraha. Nigraha means a control, which means killer. Now, it may be shocking to see a an adjective like killer being invoked for the Lord. Lord is not a murderer, but we have to understand this. Lord is not the destroyer in a normal sense, but he is the destroyer of the ego, the egocentric tendencies, the egocentric limitations in devotees. Now, this is similar to, we can say, a doctor is a murderer of the diseases. The sun is the destroyer of the night. Or we can say the summer is the annihilator of winter. In that sense, the Supreme is the destroyer, is a killer, is a controller of the ego and egocentric tendencies, limitations bind us to this mortal body. Nigraha also means one who absorbs the devotee into himself. So once the devotee withdraws himself, once he makes an effort, succeeds even to a little extent, if he is able to withdraw even a little from the worldly preconceptions and turns his mind inward towards spiritual center, the Lord enchants his speaker's attention more and more to his own infinite glory. Ultimately, he absorbs the individual totally into a state of pure consciousness. Even Lalita Saahsranaama, the same thing is conveyed by the two names Antarmukha Samaradhya, Bahirmukha Sudurlabha. As long as your vision is focused on the outside, you cannot attain the lotus feet of Mother Goddess. But once you turn your attention inside, because she is very much there, she will be full of grace and take care of you. Supreme is ever intent on fulfilling devotees' desires. Vyagraha. Vyagraha, one who is always interested, more than eager to fulfill the desires of the devotees, provided they approach the Supreme in a total feeling, what you call Sharanagati. Only then, only then the Supreme will be able to bestow the grace on you. Desire arises in the human mind mainly because of imperfections. We have a sense of incompleteness in oneself. We try to fulfill it by doing that. But once the absolute sense of bliss and peace, it is total. It is the nature of the Supreme. Once we attain this state, There cannot arise any other desire because this is a Purna Sthiti. You have got everything that you want. There is nothing else you desire. So no more desires will be there in the state of bliss. The benevolent God confers the bliss itself. So by giving, conferring bliss on you is in effect destroying all the desires. That means he extinguishes any further desire in our petty bosom. The Supreme is called Nikashrungaha, many horn, which refers to the many states of consciousness. Naikashrungaha, one who has many. Naika means na eka, naika, not one, many horns. But this is something fantastic. It is fantastic, even foolish, to visualize the Lord with many horns. Does he have many horns? It looks atrocious. No, no, not this. See what this Upanishad, they are trying to convey something totally different. Chatvarah Shungaha Trayo Yasya Padaha. Now this is the Supreme has four horns, 3 feet. Now what are these four horns? It can refer to the four states of consciousness: Jagrat, Swapna, Sushup, and Turiya. That is the waking state, the dream state, the deep sleep state, and most important, the fourth plane of consciousness, the pure awareness in which we transcend all the three earlier stages. It's called Turiya. Now, the 3 feet, Pada, indicate three states of consciousness in which we now revel: Sthula, Sukshma, and Karana Sharira. Sthula is gross, that is the physical body, the 10 indriyas which we have, Panchendriyas, Pancha Karmendriya, Pancha Gnanendriya, together 10 indriyas. This is called a Sthula Sharira. Then we have the Sukshma Sharira, that is subtle body. Subtle body consists of the mind and the intellect. And then the Karana Sharira, the causal body, that is the Vasanas, inherent tendencies for fulfilling of which we are born again and again. That is why it is the cause of our birth. It is a causal Sharira. Now, the God is also described sometimes as having two heads, Chala and Achala. Because everything is very symbolic. Now, somebody will say the God has 7 hands. These 7 hands means 7 ways to reach the God. And he is tied down at 3 places. Tied down 3 places means heart, neck, and the head. This is mentioned in Taittiriya Aranyakam. Now, Lord Krishna is said to be the elder brother of Gada, born after Krishna. So he's called Gada Agrajaha, Gadagrajaha, Gadagrajaha, elder brother of Gada. And Gada, a person, a being who was born out of mantras, is actually embodiment, personification of the chants and mantras. So thus we can say Lord Krishna had a younger brother whose name was Gada. As we have just noticed, Gada means mantra. Gadyate iti Gadaha. Mantras are chanted and therefore Gada can indicate mantra. Gadyate iti Gadaha. Gadagrajaha means one who manifests or is invoked through mantras. So mantra itself has been elevated to the status of Krishna's younger brother. So with this we can conclude this verse. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.